is one of the first things that people see when they come into the gallery. And can you explain a little bit about what this map is?
Well, this, in the beginning, Walt needed to sell Disneyland, and so he needed sponsors for Disneyland. So he had Herb Ryman draw this up, which, as I understand it, only took a couple of days or less. And this is the first interpretation of Disneyland. Doesn't quite look like it does today, but you can see where they did have the hub and it was going to go out to the different lands, but very close. I mean, they didn't stray away from this for a 2-day rendering, and it was huge. And of course, Walt really thought that this was going to be a struggle, but it really turned out to be easy. Everybody wanted to be on board for this. I mean, it was not even close to being something you need to sell somebody on. We can say Walt Disney rode in this vehicle. Walt Disney drove this vehicle around the park. And of course, his sponsor was Global Van Lines. And this has been completely restored. I mean, it's better than brand new. But can you imagine? I mean, just think of this. I mean, could you imagine sitting next to Walt Disney and riding around Disneyland in this?
And this was designed by Bob Gurr, right? Who designed the monorail,
the Matterhorn. He designed the Matterhorn. He designed the Skyway. He designed the Autopia.
He was a big vehicles guy.
And he will be here. I'm going to be excited to meet him. But I mean, he's the one Disney Imagineer that made pretty much most of the ride vehicles in Disneyland. This is an original Dune Buggy, and you can hear the sounds. It's been brought back to life. The door, there's a remote control. Cool. It actually opens, just like you would get in the ride, and it closes. Very few of these exist outside the park. This is probably only one of 2 or 3 of them, but look nice.
I remember putting my hands on these as a kid and going, oh, look what I just done.
And you know what? This is actually an original. It's the only known original outside the park, because when you're in the Haunted Mansion, those were there since the ride came in 1969.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. These were at the end of the ride at Disney World, and you would actually see them and quote a smoke and mirrors. So you'd look for straight ahead and you'd see them, and they were in the Dune Buggy with you. But if you tried to grab them, they weren't there. And as kids, we were like totally mystified. So back
it was a
in the
great
90s,
illusion.
Disney sold these at auction back in the 90s when they turned it to digital.
Yeah.
And nobody liked that, so you never see that happen at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Disney, all these posters are hand silkscreened. Big white sheet, one color at a time, took 24 hours to dry, then they laid it. It took literally a week to make most of these posters.
They're really large.
They are huge. They're 5 feet tall. We didn't have the printing capabilities today that we did, and Walt wanted the absolute best quality. And they had to stand up to the California weather, hence the paint and the silk screening.
They were all outdoor posters.
Yes, these were outdoor posters.
My favorite story about Casa de Fritos is that's where they invented the Dorito.
Oh, really? Now, see, I didn't even know that.
Yes. So the chefs there would take their tortillas, chop them up into triangles, fry them up, season them, and that became the Dorito. Or this is just like something personal I have to point out, but this is Bob Thomas's book.
The Art of Animation.
Yes, this is my great uncle.
Oh, he's your great uncle. Wow.
Yeah,
So that's
I have the recent version of this. It has the lenticular cover, but this is from the 1956.
Yeah, I believe 1956.
Amazing, and for a lot of animators, this is the Bible of animation.
Yes, it is.
I mean, a lot of people get attracted by the big ticket items, the ride vehicles and the signs and stuff, but there's all this little stuff that's so cool.